Self-improvement is some of the most popular content on the internet right now. Did you know that?
Yeah.
But is it really improving young men, as the name suggests, or is it just another vain form of self-interest by giving you a temporary purpose that is wholly ignorant of the world around you? Now we're going to cover virtues laid out by the great Aristotle, the Greek philosopher. When you see a lot of these masculinity edits online, they all use buzzwords such as these. We'll bang it up on screen so a lot of you can read it. I know you can't read, I can't either, no judgment.
Now if you have a look at the chart, one of the first things that pops out is truthful. Everybody sees that being truthful as a man is one of the most masculine traits you can have. But if you look on the right and the excess, who's the most boastful person that comes to mind in the last few years?
I'd say sexy Phil Mitchell.
Oh, what colour's your Bugatti?
Yeah.
What colour is your Bugatti?
45. Then you look at the right side of the table and you think, how many of these things match up to sexy Phil Mitchell? And you'll see that quite a lot of them do. Rash, extravagant, boastful, buffoonish at times. We all like a bit of banter.
It was just banter.
Andrew Tate was the most popular man in terms of being on the internet. People are saying, why is that? Oh, because he's a masculine man, he's speaking to young men. But if you take the advice and you take the instructions of, say, Aristotle's philosophy, there's nothing virtuous about him. He's very boastful, he's in your face, he's constantly wanting to tell you how much money you get. He smashes. I don't think this excess and pride that people like Andrew Tate have got is a good message to be giving out to young men.
It's ironic in a way, isn't it? It's almost anti-masculine. You know what I mean? Like you constantly try and big up as to who you are, what you've achieved. It seems like a lot of the life coaches in the movement are just rich man children they've achieved the childhood goals of getting the poster girls in the beds, in the poster cars in the driveway. Once you've achieved these things, what next?
You see one of the virtues there, it's being industrious, i.e. being hard working.
Yeah.
But if you look at the excess is being single-minded. A lot of these guys are fully focused on themselves. Now there's an argument to say that all great men are somewhat focused on themselves, but they're focused on themselves for the betterment of like the community or the nation. I don't see that with someone like, say, an Andrew Tate.
Let's say in the 1800s Victorian times you'd see a guy in a soapbox standing up preaching to a crowd. That's sort of like what being an influencer is now, but you've got the internet behind you. It's weird because in the 1800s if I was walking past these people screaming in the street,
It's just nut jobs.
I'd just be blanking them.
We've said it before, we'll say it again. Our main philosophy when doing these videos, we're not just calling out people for the sake of calling out people. We see it as self-improvement as the means and not the end. There's got to be some sort of higher purpose. And one of the main reasons we're doing this video today is this comment, which we'll read out now, because it got his minds jogging. This is the mantra that we want to put forward to anybody who's getting into self-improvement. We'll read it out now.
This is a comment by Bear Whale. I don't know how you both those animals at once. It's kind of strange. I might make that an AI in the video.
He's quite clearly a legend.
But what is the end goal of this? You're constantly pushing, working hard, sacrificing and preparing for something. For what? I can understand passion scientists, doctors and artists having to perfect their craft. Sorry, I had a bogey. Cure disease and find new knowledge. But working hard to make money just to be able to, work hard and make more money, it just seems like an absurd infinite loop. It's a genius comment, mate.
It's a bang.
Shout out Bear Whale.
You can look at them virtues and you can make up your own mind where your favourite manosphere red pill content creators fit into them. It's quite obvious. But the next thing we like to move on to is the finance bro community. Read how that comment finishes. Do you want to be the guy who says this doesn't fit in my macros? I can't explain to you how many people I see on the internet, the Alex or Mosey types, who are saying completely move away from your family, cut off all your family as much as possible because your main aim until you're 55 is to make money. So when you're 55 and you've got no energy, you can then start chasing 18-year-old cooter. We revert back to the first point of means not the end. There's got to be some sort of semblance of a higher purpose towards this, whether you're doing it for your family, whether you're doing it for community, whether you're doing it because of some form of religiosity. These are the things that you've got to aspire to.
All the great inventions of the world, for the most part, have been invented. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're just a course seller.
You're a course seller. The Ford Model T. No one's going to make another Ford Model T.
If you're going to try to occupy Mars, then I understand you're probably going to need to put everything aside.
Yeah.
You are aspiring to be a great man. Alex and Mosey's aspiring to be a billionaire.
You don't want to have £1 billion. They want the ability to spend £1 billion. Do you know what I mean?
All the status that comes along with that, which brings you back to the boisterous, the boastful point of what colour's your Bugatti. You can't come out online saying how much you're doing it for young men and how much you're trying to teach young men to escape from the Matrix. But every 2 seconds you're there. Look how poor you are, look how rich I am. But if you buy my course, Hustlers University.
Think about the societies that have raised, fall, the amount of time society and civilization has endured, and now, for some reason, in 2024, regardless of all the wars that have happened prior, we are now being told of the impending doom that we now need to financially escape.
Yeah, ignore all the socio-economic issues.
Yeah.
Ignore all the problems of whatever you want to talk about, banking, feminism, whatever you want. You buy Andrew Tate's Hustlers University course for $49 a month or however much it costs.
I think it's loads, you know.
Yeah, it's probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, now you're going to break free of the matrix.
Now you buy it. Buy my I believe that wacky haircut guy Sam Hyde said it once. It's just a relief of pressure from the modern life, isn't it? Money. Moving into a nicer area. Little things that make your life a lot easier. You get to shop at nicer supermarkets and that are less crowded, you know what I mean? Yeah. Making money your purpose, which is just an entirely human concept anyway, I find that dead strange. How can money be that purpose? It's mental, mate.
It's like the point we made on looksmaxxin. There's only so much you can move before. Say you've pushed your jaw at 1.5 mil. Then that's it, you're sorted.
Yeah.
You've been in the gym 5 years, you've maxed out all your lifts. Then what? We know people who've gone to the gym, they've done the meditating, they've done all the self-improvement things. It looks like they've got the mind sorted. And then as soon as that law of diminishing returns it, they've had that initial boost of purpose and they can no longer gain any more. Then all of a sudden they revert back to their old type.
Yeah, they do.
Because they've got no more goals. That's what I mean, self-improvement was their purpose. But self-improvement's meant to aid the purpose.
There is a timeline to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
And every timeline must come to an end.
Yeah.
These are the questions you need to ask yourself before you even get into it, for me.
Yeah, things like knowledge. I think you can always
expand,
you can always learn knowledge. You can always become a better father or a better son. But yeah, you're going
aesthetic bodies and money. There's going to be a point where you've achieved everything there is to achieve. Tap in, throw the towel. By the way, everyone, I'm rocking my Travis Bickle drip today. If you could let me know in the comments how good it is, that'd be appreciated.
If you look at them virtues that we put up earlier on, one of the excesses is asceticism. Now, there is a time and there is a place and a purpose for things like dopamine detox and monk mode. If you're trying to strive for greatness, you are going to need long periods of time of efficiency and productivity. And also, when you're combating the problems of modern world, like modern media and video games, you are going to need brief periods of completely shutting out cheap dopamine hits that you're getting in the modern world. There's a time and a place for hobbies. Now there's obviously things like porn and promiscuity you should 100% stay away from because they're toxic to the soul. What's your opinion on cars, going to football, going out and having a drink once a month?
You've got to.
Socialising. There's a big movement. You shouldn't socialise in your 20s.
Yeah, I think that is, and I think the people preaching it, liars. It's simple as that. You've got to have something to look forward to in your days. Because let's face it, you cut everything out in your 20s, you come to your 30s, you've made it, you're a millionaire, you're a baller, yeah? What happens then? Because you've cut everything, all you've done is put off what you wanted to do in your 30s. You're just going to end up spunking all your money, doing loads of pints, buying 20 cars.
I've built several businesses that allow me to have complete financial freedom. I have my choice in women. I'm able to travel the world when I want to.
Another thing that we think is a balance. If you look at them virtues, that's the point. It's centre and it's deficiency and excess. A lot of people are coming online and looking for advice. A lot of it could be simple as this. Stop watching self-improvement content. All these guys talk about the 80-20 rule, don't they? The Pareto principle. Why don't you cut out all the nonsense and look at that table and just try and live by that?
If you're a strong person based on morals and virtues, you can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are willing to come online, straight-faced, tell you how you need to work 60 to 70-hour weeks, have no social life, and live an aesthetic life. Aesthetic. And live a life of nothing. You have to have something to look forward to in your days. You have to. Look at Tate on his little tricycle.
There's the wheat waffles point. See the video that we watched last week where he's talking about looksmaxxin being equivalent of a get-rich-quick scheme in terms of airline Gadsy. Now I think that perfectly encapsulates self-improvement now. It's all finance bros and looksmaxxin.
Let me swap places so I can agree with this. I agree, mate, yeah.
Cheers, mate. Nice.
Think of the finance bro community, yeah. That is how to make money, how to get out the matrix for yourself, not for anyone else, just for you. You think about the looksmaxxin community, that is how to get yourself peng so you can have intercourse with as many hotties as you like. It's all very much self-focused and it's not very much the greater good.
I'm sick of all the individual nonsense. People need to start, if you're focusing on yourself, good. If you're focusing on your own finances, good. But what are you doing it for? It's got to be for some greater purpose.
Before we go into the self-improvement journey, you have to realise that it's going to change your life. Sure, you need to ultimately take an introspective look before you even start and think, right, what am I going to get out of this? And what do I want to achieve beyond this? Because self-improvement has a timeline. I'm going to say 5 years, where you've got the body, if you switched on, you've got the financial success, then what? You're going to want a family, you're going to want to start something more benevolent in yourself, strive for something bigger for the betterment of mankind, as opposed to making yourself rich so you can drive around in a cool car with a girl on your arm. Which, if that's what you want, go do, fine, but it's the antithesis to self-improvement, it's the antithesis to the movement, and if that's what you want to go do, go buy the Hustlers University and